Before we begin, listen closely, because what you are about to hear is not a story about demons with claws and fire, but about a far more terrifying enemy, the voice that whispers inside the mind when no one else is listening. If you enjoy deep, dark, real stories of saints who fought unseen battles, make sure to subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, and stay with me until the end. And as always, comment below how far this video reaches, because your comments tell me whether these stories deserve to be told louder and longer. Ignatius of Loyola was not born a saint. He was born a warrior, proud, ambitious, obsessed with honor and glory. In the castles of northern Spain, he dreamed not of heaven, but of fame, of women, of duels, of blood-stained victories. His heart was trained for war, not prayer. His hands knew the weight of a sword long before they ever touched a rosary. And yet, it was a single cannonball that shattered not only his leg, but his entire identity. In 1521, during the Battle of Pamplona, Ignatius stood defiant as French cannons roared. When the iron ball struck him, it crushed his leg like glass. The pain was indescribable. Bones splintered, flesh tore. He fell, humiliated, carried away not as a hero, but as a broken man. That wound did not heal easily. Multiple surgeries followed. No anesthesia, only raw agony. And during those long nights in bed, the real battle began. At first, his mind wandered back to fantasies of glory. He imagined returning to court, admired and desired. These thoughts thrilled him, but when they faded, they left him hollow, restless, irritated. Then, with nothing else to read, Ignatius picked up books about Christ and the saints. And something strange happened. These thoughts did not excite him, but they brought peace, a deep, quiet joy. Yet the moment he committed to them, darkness followed. Soon, despair crept in. Thoughts he had never known before began to whisper, "You are useless now. Your life is over. You will never be who you were." These thoughts were not loud. They were subtle, patient, persistent. And Ignatius began to realize something terrifying. Some thoughts drained his soul, while others strengthened it. But he did not yet understand why. Then the whispers grew darker. What if God does not want you? What if you are already lost? He would pray and feel nothing. He would fast and feel emptier. At night, suicidal thoughts invaded his mind like an occupying army. He later wrote that despair pressed on him so heavily that death seemed like relief. This was not imagination. This was oppression, a spiritual siege. Ignatius did not yet know the enemy's name, but he felt its presence. As Ignatius left his home and journeyed toward Montserrat, the darkness followed him. He confessed his sins, gave away his fine clothes, and chose a life of penance. Outwardly, he looked holy. Inwardly, hell intensified. The more he tried to be perfect, the more merciless the thoughts became. You did not confess properly. You lied. You hid something. God is angry. These thoughts repeated endlessly, like a curse that reset itself every morning. Ignatius would confess the same sins again and again, searching for relief. But the relief never came. Instead, despair deepened. He stopped sleeping. He stopped eating. His body weakened, but his mind tortured him without rest. At one point, he stood near a river, convinced that throwing himself in would finally silence the voices. He later admitted that suicide felt logical, almost holy, because he believed God was done with him. This is where the story becomes truly dark. Ignatius realized that these thoughts did not behave like his own mind. They did not respond to reason. They mocked prayer. They twisted holiness into condemnation. And slowly, painfully, he understood, not every thought comes from God or from ourselves. Some thoughts exist only to destroy. One night, broken and exhausted, Ignatius made a decision. He said aloud, "I will not obey this voice." That moment changed everything. The despair did not vanish instantly, but it weakened. For the first time, he resisted not with strength, but with discernment. He began to observe his thoughts like a battlefield. Which thoughts led to peace? Which led to despair? Which pulled him closer to God? And which drove him toward death? This observation became survival, and survival became wisdom. This was the birth of what the world would later call discernment of spirits. By now, Ignatius was living in a cave near Manresa, alone, hungry, sleep-deprived, the perfect target, and the enemy adapted. The despair was replaced with something more dangerous, false holiness. Thoughts whispered, fast more, punish yourself, never rest, never smile. These thoughts felt holy, but they left him empty, proud, and cruel toward himself. Ignatius later wrote that demons can disguise themselves as angels of light. And here, he learned that lesson the hard way. He pushed his body beyond its limits. He punished himself for joy, and the more he tried to earn God's love, the further he felt from him. Then came the breaking point. One day, overwhelmed, Ignatius threw himself on the ground and cried out, not in perfect prayer, but in desperation. And in that moment, clarity returned. He saw the pattern. God's voice brought humility and strength. The enemy's voice brought obsession and despair, even when disguised as holiness. This realization shattered the illusion. From this pain, Ignatius began writing what would become the spiritual exercises, not as theory, but as a battle manual, a guide forged in suffering, a map for souls trapped in invisible war. Ignatius would go on to found the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, an order built not on visions, but on discernment. His legacy was not miracles, but clarity. He taught the world that the greatest spiritual battles happen silently, in the mind, in prayer, in moments no one sees. And here is the haunting truth. Ignatius never claimed the battle ended. He only learned how to fight it. If this story moved you, disturbed you, or helped you understand your own inner struggles, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, and comment below how far this video reached, because your engagement tells me these stories matter. Because the devil does not always roar. Sometimes he whispers, and sometimes the holiest victories happen in silence.